Hello again, friends. If we could all take our seats. We're getting to how do you guys feel about the experience so far? How are we doing? Yeah. We've had some really amazing speakers. I so appreciate the lived experience panel being willing to really share in depth some of the things that are happening with them and learn so much in the professional panel. So now I get this opportunity, which I'm so thankful and grateful that we've brought Joe Reid here to speak. Joe is 2021 Amazon National Best-Selling Author of Broken Like Me, founder and executive director of Broken People, an international mental health peer support group, community connections facilitator, NAMI in Kent County. This guy's got a resume, huh? Bachelor's in Criminal Justice, Business, and Social Science from Liberty University. And I have to tell you, I had the opportunity to get to spend some time with him and his family yesterday. These people are just so fun and just so easy to be around, so authentic. And I think you'll experience the same with me today, this authenticity and the integrity that comes with giving these kinds of speeches. So without further ado, I'd like to invite up Joe Reid. Thank you so much for being here.
It was nice. Can you guys hear me okay? It was nice of you to say that we were all fun when you probably just met my wife and my daughter. Because they were pretty cool. I want to do an exercise with you before I get started. I saw this in an airport. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is here. One of those states that could have voted better. And this is something they had a sensory room in the airport. And there were a lot of people around, and I took my wife and my daughter in there, and I just wanted to sit and quiet. And in one of the rooms, there was a pod, and they had a video playing, and they went through this thing called hand breathing. Anybody ever heard of hand breathing? I shared it with Rain. Yeah. So you can do this in your seat. I need to do this because I just need to calm down a little bit. And I'll show you how it works. So just hold your hand in front of you. You can hold it up if you want to. This is pretty cool. As I take my finger up, I'm going to breathe up. And as I come back down, I'm going to breathe down. And we're going to do it really slow. Like I do the square breathing at home, like 4 seconds in, hold it 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds. I was like, man, my hands are really sensitive in those areas. That's pretty wild. I want to thank Kim, Laura. Laura did an amazing job of working to bring me here. I was at the International CEIT conference in Indianapolis last year. We happened to meet up and had a great conversation. And she's like, well, maybe somebody else will want to hear you talk. And it's just an honor to be here, and it's such a privilege. And I want you to know I'm not going to take it for granted. And that by the time I leave out of here, I'm going to barely be able to walk because I'm just going to leave it all on the floor here. I want to dedicate this presentation, and this is kind of hard for me, to Sam, Alex, and Morty. Alex is a member of our in-person group. We have an international presence online of social media peer support. She lost her brother Alex to suicide on January 23rd, and her dog Morty to cancer on February 23rd. So I told her I wanted to honor her today and just make her story known to you a little bit because she's a blessing to me. She, on May 18th, will be 1 year free, alcohol free. She just got her driver's license back. And in November, she will be 7 years meth free. So I asked somebody here, what is the more difficult addiction to get rid of? Alcohol. And she's killing it. So I'm Joseph Reid. I'm the founder and executive of Broken People Peer Supports, international mental health peer support. We're in 43 countries. I want to give you a little story about me, like who I am and why the name Broken People. 28. I've been married 28 years this June. Sorry, I had to stumble over the month, but things stayed. I have 4 kids. I just had a granddaughter 5 months ago, Abigail Joy. I've been with FedEx for 27 years. I'm currently part-time while I do this thing I'm doing, whatever this is, full-time. And, I'm the founder of this thing. The reason I call it Broken People is, and this could be offensive to some people, but when I'm struggling and I'm trying to communicate with other people, broken is just how I feel. And I thought, and you'll hear my story, I wonder if there are people out there that feel broken like me. And can I do something about that? So that's why the name is there. It's not to cause shame or anything like that. It's just, it's my way of connecting with other people that feel that way. Our presentation today, and can we just laugh every time I make a little noise or something? Yeah, thanks. That way it makes me feel like I'm funny and it's not just a string. Forward is the presentation I'm going to share with you today. When you don't know what to do, when you don't know what direction to go, and you feel like you're at your wit's end, forward is forward. I am going to be talking about some very heavy, dark stuff. So please know that I will be addressing suicide. Yeah. And what I'm going to be giving you today are 4 words to move forward, which is basically a lie. It's 4 groups of 4 words to move forward, but that's really long to say. So we're going to find where you are going, how to get there, and find a move forward. What these 4 ways of move forward are meant to be is a tool for you. How to find something that works for you. But also I'm also going to share with you a way to use it for somebody you love. Because more often than not, the question I get at the end of a presentation is, what do I do for my son? What do I do for my boyfriend? What do I do for so-and-so? And I'm going to not even wait for the question answer time. But in order to get started, let's play a game. Anybody Lord of the Rings fans out there? J.R.R. Tolkien? Anybody? Okay, well, we'll just try it out and see how it goes. You have to just guess if it's a Tolkien character or an antidepressant. And then you get candy. But you don't have to get it right. You just have to guess, okay? Raise your hand, because I don't want to discourage anybody. And please raise your hand, even if you don't know, just do it. So, first one, Bilbo. Just raise your hands. Yes, young lady. It's a Tolkien character. Are you certain of this? And survey says Tolkien character, yes. Excellent, nailed it. All right, here we go. Prozac, all the way in the back here. I told the camera guys I'm going to make them work for it today. I can't, I'm so nervous. Like, who? Are you sure? Okay. Hi there. Hi, Mom. Prozac. So my son's name is Zach. Good job, by the way. And I always joke about are we Prozac or are we anti-Zach? Well, of course we're Prozac. Desireel. Yes. Nailed it. Wow. Good job. And Elendil. All the way in the back. Incoming! Yeah! Wow, we're batting 1,000 right now. This is supposed to be fun. It's like my run when people don't get it right. Orphan. Orphan? Yeah, Yeah! Okay, character. Yeah! Nailed it. What's that? My daughter, who's back there selling my books, her kitten name is Chicken. All right. Cledial. And. Okay, over here, back here. I saw you raise your hand like you know. Can you answer this one for me? Yeah. Wow, thank you for raising your hand. Antidepressant. Right? I know, it's crazy. Coming over here for the next one. Elrenon. Who hand? Can you answer this for me? The Tolkien character? Come on. Oh, antidepressant. Oh, that's okay. You still get candy. Arrest her. Arrest her. I don't even know her. Who was in this one? Yes. Thank you for being here today. I'm Joe. Hi, Gene. A pleasure meeting you. How are you doing? All right. Tolkien character. Gore. Escalith.
It's a Bible.
You talk like about like you know that. Nailed it. Wow. Good job. Finarfin. Oh, yeah. No. No, it's okay. We're here. Tolkien character. Oh, nice. Wow, we did like 8 out of 10. Okay, let's talk about the Silmarillion for a second. My son wanted me to read The Hobbit with him, so I read my wife every night, and I was reading my kids every night, and I could barely make it through The Hobbit without like the pronunciation. My reading level is way low, and I have the Silmarillion. My son journals in Dwarvish, so we can't read it. So it's so wild. So, why I do this? I'm not going to throw something in my presentation that's purposeless and meaningless. Well, I might do that for fun, but I get nervous. I'm like really nervous, and it's kind of funny. And I'm feeling safer with you guys because you're kind of working with me here. But the one thing about medications is it can lead to distrust between the care needer and the caregiver when you feel like you're being experimented on, when you don't know what you're being given, why you're being given it, and what's going to happen after you take it. And for some people, medication is a lifesaver. No, I went to a police academy in Wisconsin, and I was like, some people, lifesaver, for some people, medication is a candy, and I'm like, no, it's a lifesaver. Like, come on, the cop said it's a candy. You're like, no, cops, I tell you. What does mental illness look like? Let's talk about signs, symptoms, and what are some issues it causes. So I just want to give you an opportunity. What are some signs and symptoms you've either experienced or you've seen, or some of the issues it may cause in your life? So highly interactive here. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. What's another one? Sign and symptom of some for you or somebody. It's in the back in the black sweater. Panic attacks. Yep. What does that for yourself or someone you love? Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's a more common experience than gets talked about. Mr. Suit, which I'm thoroughly like loving it. By the way, the whole thing is just working for me. Uh, Chronic fatigue. Yep, exactly. And you have, yeah, I'm sorry. No, no, you're right. Exactly. Like, who was it? You said, I'm sorry. Like, why do you have to apologize? But we do that, right? Like, did you have your hand raised? Fear. Say a little bit more about that, if you would. Yeah. And they don't do nothing. Like, they get stuck in that fear, right? Sometimes. And that's why I have this do it scared. Right, right. Yeah. And I like right now, I'm like, I could easily stay home and not be here, but I'm just like, I'm going to come here and I'm going to do it scared and then hope, like, I hope everybody likes me. But also, it's like, I'm going to fly back to Michigan. And um, so, because we have a lot of members all over the country, the world, I wanted to give you some of my experiences with members of the group and their symptoms, signs, and issues that that's caused. We have a member of the organization who deals with trichotillomania. Anybody familiar with that? In the back, yes. What is trichotillomania? Compulsive hair pulling. Also, they will eat the hair. Sometimes, yes. Not always. Person that believed that their wife was an alien and trying to kill them. We had a person in our group who dealt with, whenever they got in a really quiet, relaxing place, they would pick their scabs, and they would have the same scab for 6 months, and they would just go back and just do it, and they would become so angry with themselves for doing something so gross as picking their scab over and over again. We have a person in our group who didn't take showers as a kid, maybe once a year if their mother made them, but the shower thing was just really, really tough for them. We have a person there that talks about having suicidal ideation every 10 minutes during a tough season of life. It just constant, never going away, always just the best way for you to deal with is just kill yourself. Because everything else is just too hard. Feeling like fear, it's just too hard. A person that was dealing with mental illness and was in a hospital and lost 7 days of their life because I did not lick a slug, by the way. My tongue is, there's a slug apparently you lick and it makes your tongue numb. It sounds very numb, but lost 7 days of their life because they were so medicated. They were in the hospital, just couldn't remember it 7 days. We had a person in our group thought they were a cop for a week. And then another person in our group that they were hospitalized. And in the hospital, there was another gentleman walking up and down the hallways, kind of just talking to himself, didn't know what he was saying. But this other gentleman would go into a room and pull down his pants and sit on a bed. And then, when you get that, you pull the sheets up and it's nice and cool, but then it starts to warm, so you want to move a little bit. This guy would just be like, oh, the sheets are warm, so I'm going to pull up my pants and I'm going to go find another bed. So he would go around to different beds and sit on them and pull his pants down. Well, our member that was in the hospital didn't like that. None of the other patients liked it, so they told the nurses. Nurses were great. They went to this gentleman, tried to help him down to a safer room for this guy that was pulling down his pants. And the guy that was doing this got really scared and started to wrestle. So with some special nurse jitsu, they got the guy down and they were fighting. They were just trying to maintain some kind of calm. And one of the nurses yelled out, he's grabbing my hand and he's pulling it towards his mouth. And our member group was at the door where this was happening. And our guy was just like, hey, just calm down. And the gentleman on the floor screaming, help me, help me, help me. He was so scared. And the nurses were scared. And one of the nurses at the end was a female nurse, yells at our member was in this room. She's like, shut the door, stop talking to him. And so my member guy was like, sure, whatever you say, ma'am. And he starts bracing the door. All the time was screaming. And the male nurse at the head of the gentleman that was pulling his hand, he's got my finger in his mouth. And you hear a crunch. And then you hear a... And the finger landed in front of my member's door. And all hell broke loose. There were sirens. There were people having panic attacks down the hallway. In a place that you want to feel safe, but you feel so threatened. And then the police showed up, and this is kind of tattooed on the guy, my member's brain. This is over. When the cop got in there and he took control of the situation, this is over. And the peace that was felt in that space when that happened. And we got another member of our group that was a national best-selling author. So what does mental illness look like? Sweet tea. It looks like me. Every one of those things is my story. I was sitting over here next to my wife and Nancy, pulling my hairs out, not because I wanted to. A lot of times I don't even know I'm doing it. Just anxious. And a lot of times my shirt had hairs on it, like, oh, wait, I'm anxious. I didn't know I was anxious until I saw all the hairs on my shirt. We'll talk about my time in law enforcement in a little bit. But being in that room on the other side with that finger laying there and everybody screaming and crying. I was the same visit in the hospital. I got my bill the night before I left. They gave me the bill. The thing is, one of the myths we face, and some of the myths I'm going to address today are myths that I tell myself, okay? That you can never do anything great. Freaking wrote a book. I mean, that's enough. But then to be number one on Amazon, a number one new release in several categories, So I've been taking medication for 20 years. I have Prozac 20 milligrams. That's the one I've been on for the most. Wellbutrin 150. I tried to go off a couple months ago, and just working out more and everything. Obviously, I was working out more. Thank you. Well, you noticed, right? And I have another one, Evastatin, because I have 3 arteries that are more than 75% blocked. Is there stigma related to medication? I was a cop for GRPD. A little bit more about that later. For a week. Can you imagine the shame associated with that? When you work 3 years, graduated 3rd in my academy. But I did something pretty cool. I have 3 books out. I have 2 books that are out there, and I have a workbook for people that are incarcerated. So if you have any questions about that, you can talk to me after. In fact, I'm going to be here as long as anybody needs me to be here to talk to me later today. Like, I'm literally just not going to leave. So if you feel like, oh, I don't want to waste his time, please do. Please come up to me. And I lead an international nonprofit. Like, how does this happen? Dude, you right there leading the nonprofit, right? What's your name? Yeah. Heck, man. And your voice? Can I clone that? That's beautiful. What does mental illness look like? This is my friend Nathan. It looks like my friend Nathan. He obviously we're twins. I'll let you decide who's the better looking one. Best friend, worship pastor, my church, larger than life guy. You ever heard the quote, hurt people? Yeah, the thing is like what I've experienced in my life after like I started this whole journey of outing myself a little bit is that hurt people help you because we understand the pain and the agony of going through what we're going through and having nobody there to do a damn thing. Nathan adopted 8 kids. And he was a broken guy. And he tried to fill those cracks with other broken people. And it never quite got there. I want to give you, this is crazy. I don't know, like this is a national show or something, but I want to give you an idea of his personality because it's pretty funny. He's a great guy. This is some kind of like, he had the, like, there were a bunch of people dancing to actually be on the TV and compete, and he got voted as the one to dance during the actual show. Anybody who know who these people are? What show this is? What is it? Kelly Regis. That's my worship pastor buddy, Nathan. Big personality. His wife is like in the front row, which is, if just don't watch me there in this whole presentation. Watch my wife and just be like this the whole time. Yeah, so I love watching this part. Okay, so again, we're gonna talk about forward is forward today. When you feel lost and you feel overwhelmed, you don't know where to go, move forward. You don't know which direction is forward. Well, forward is forward. It's really, really that simple. I don't want to give you 4 words to move forward, and I do all my notes in Sharpie because it's deep. Like I'm so nervous I can't see. Like I get tunnel vision, so this helps me to be able to see. Like what am I talking about? Find where you are is the first thing. All journeys start where you. I want to give you a story to explain how this works, why it works, and why it's important to what we're talking about here. My son David, we went wilderness camping in 2019 in the Huron Manistee National Forest. I live in Grand Rapids on the left-hand side bottom, and we were camping all the way up there. I think it's like, I don't know. It was a big, big national forest. And so I heard that there was a suspension bridge up here. So We were 2 miles off of any main road on a 2-track and 5 miles from the nearest cell signal. So my wife couldn't get a hold of us. It was probably a blessing for her. I couldn't call her and ask what to cook. When we wanted to look for a bridge, but there was a problem with trying to find that bridge right there. Can anybody guess what that problem is? It's always, where the heck am I? Because how do I start when I don't know where I'm at? Finding where we start is essential. Knowing where we wish we were or where we want to be doesn't help. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I can't believe I just did that. I don't even know what the song that is. It's your song. Yours is Drop It Like It's Hot. Yeah. So when you see that, you are here. It's like, oh, I have a destination. I know where I am. So 5 days in the wilderness. We are facing west. There's a bluff that goes down 100 feet over the Manistee River. We went to bed with sunrise in our tents. This is pretty cool. The third day we went on the hike, 11 miles estimated. I didn't really know. And this log kind of crosses Slagle Creek, and I thought it was just really cool to kind of capture a picture of that. So here's David. I didn't realize this when we started off. I gave him a backpack. You guys are all really great to look at. So you make me feel very comfortable. Thank you for that. And I'm just going to say things. So yeah, his backpack was actually twice as heavy as mine. And I didn't realize that. And I didn't realize that I didn't know where we were when we started. I thought I knew where we were when we started, but we went down the wrong trail. And the trail here ended. And we were supposed to get on a North Country Trail. Anybody ever heard of the North Country Trail? It basically goes from Florida to Michigan. It's super long. It's super great. But we didn't start in the right place. And when we got to this end of the trail, my son got angry. Dad, you're dumb. This is my youngest son. And how did you do this? Like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, well, I know the river's here, and I know the North Trail's here. So if we just go east, eventually we're going to cross paths with it. So we go east. And well, I thought it was east. It was east. East-ish. And going through the ferns, going through the trees. And about, 4 or 5 minutes later, I just hear my son cussing me out. It's like, Dad, this is stupid. I just want to turn back. You MFer, what are we doing? Why are we even out here? You're an idiot. And he's like, if we don't find that trail in 1 more minute, I'm turning around. We found the trail in 30 seconds. I'm like, ha. And so we're going down the trail, and he's still cussing me out. He's still getting angry. And finally we get to this one turn, and he just sits down. And he was done. He was complaining. He's like, I'm not going any farther. And my question to you is, and we're going to talk about this, is what do you do when forward is no longer an option? What do you do when you come to a place where somebody is telling you no? I want to give you another example. Anybody ever remember malls? Yeah. So let's examine, let's pretend you got to pee, okay? Like, what do you look for on this? Like, you're in the center of the mall, you find the map, like, I got to pee. What do you look for? The little icons with the guy and the girl, right? Look for those little funky icons. What's the problem with this? What's that? They're all off the main course. Somebody else sit up over here. Where are you? Right? Just because you find out where you want to be doesn't mean the journey has started. Then you see it. Whew. You ever been in a mall or a airport, or I was in the Denver airport, just, like, where's the bathroom? And you get this relief of, I know where I'm at. I know where I want to be. This might seem a little weird, but roll with me here for a second. What if you're in crisis and you got to pee really bad? Like, you had some extra cheese, you're lactose intolerant, something's going on, you got to find the bathroom. I want you to think about what changes when you're in crisis like that and you got to use the bathroom. And we're going to sidestep the story and just talk about what crisis looks like. On this side of the room, I just like somebody to answer on this scale from 1 to 10, where are you today? Somebody. Yeah, where are you? Fantastic. I'd love to hear that. Very good. Anybody else? Fantastic. Now let's go over here. You guys, where are you at on the scale? Yeah. 4. I can't make that face. Fantastic. Anybody else? 3, 4. These scales are made by professionals. And how we find where we are when we're in crisis and our ability to communicate it is so, so important. I was in a mental hospital with my son, the son that was on that trip. They gave him 2 sheets of paper. I call this the +1 scale. There's not a whole lot of room on here for feeling good, is there? There's like maybe 1 and 2. Like, that doesn't seem very fair to me for good feelings. At least this one gives you half the scale, right? They gave him 2 sheets of paper. One was this scale where 10 was great. At the very next sheet of paper, the very same moment, 1 was great and 10. You get somebody in their crisis and they want to tell you what's going on, but they don't have the words to say it. Throw this shit at them. I understand what it's like to be in crisis. I understand what it's like to really struggle to let people know that you're not doing okay. So my name is Joseph Reid, Executive Director of Broken People, and I have major depressive disorder. How do I tell my doctor I don't feel good enough? How do I tell my wife I don't feel good enough? And if it gets so bad that I'm wanting to hurt myself, how do I tell them that I want to do that? One of those things that really makes it hard for me is the way that the mental health community has created this breakdown in communication. And it's never worked for me. It's the 1 through 10 scale that you see whenever you go to your therapist or your doctor. And usually in this scale, 1 is good and 10 is bad, but you can also have 10 is good and 1 is bad. Just Google the mental health scale and see all the different answers you get and see all the different ideas. And that just didn't work for me. So I had to make my own scale to be able to communicate so people understand. And I made this scale. I call it the Joe scale, but I want you to use your name. And here's how it works. It's really simple. It goes from +10 to -10. If you're not doing well, guess which side of the scale you're on? The negative side, right? -10 is the worst possible situation. You're in the act of hurting yourself, of taking your life. A +10 is the best possible situation, what I refer to as a spiritual orgasm. It's fantastic. But there's 2 important numbers on this scale that I think that are lacking in other scales, and that's a crisis number, and we have a manic number. The crisis number is, hey, I need to go to the hospital, and I don't want to tell you all the things that are going on in my head right now. I can just say, I'm at this number, take me to get help. And then you have the manic number. You could be doing really, really great. And you could be in a sense of mania. And mania feels great, but you also can begin to have thoughts and habits that are really unhealthy for you and your loved ones. Ideas and commitments that just will overwhelm you and eventually will tank you and take you down to the negative side. If I'm at a +6, I can ask myself, wait a second, am I being manic? And then what you can do with that is if you're not manic and you're just feeling great, then you have to worry about falling all the way down to, crashing. But if you are manic, you can still feel great and put coping skills in place to be able to act as a safety net when you do fall. I did this because I needed something stupid proof to be able to tell my doctor and to tell my therapist when I'm struggling without telling them all the thoughts that are going on, because those are embarrassing, they're hard, they're scary, and I don't want to have them come out of my mouth. But when I'm stumbling for those words and I can tell them my mental health number, it makes my communication with you, with police officers, with doctors and friends and family so much more simple. It's time for a change. It's time for this disparity of communication to go away, and for you to be able to understand me and me to understand you, and for healing to happen. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my heart. This is just me being real. So thanks for watching this video. I had a friend that went to Ireland, and on his way there, he was with his wife, who's a therapist, and he was there with a couple of their friends. And on his way there, he started feeling some knee pain. Got off the plane. They ended up going to a med center and got some antibiotics. Went back to his hotel there in Ireland, and somewhere in the middle of the night, he started babbling and not making any sense to his wife. And he was like texting me too from Ireland, and I was like, what's going on? It's like kind of random, like really emotional stuff that I didn't understand. And I get a call from his wife like 4 hours later, just weeping. She said, Joe, he was in that space, and the only thing that made sense to me is when he said, tell Joe I'm at a -7. He didn't have to say all the things. Like, I don't have to tell my wife. My wife doesn't want to hear when I want to put a gun to my head. She doesn't want to hear those things. I don't want to tell her those things. Her fear response to my depression is anger. And I don't want to put her through that. I want people to understand me. And I want them to understand you. So if you go to my website, my scale, videos on there for free. Share it. There's a PDF on there that you can use with a therapist, and instructions on how to use the PDF, how to use this, if you want to. And maybe you can go to somebody and ask them, hey, can I get your number? And me not asking out for a date. It's me saying, just tell me where you are. I was coming out of church one day, and Bill said to me, how you doing? And I was doing all the emotional gymnastics. I had an argument with my wife, but we made it up, and then I kind of stressed about being at church. And he's like, whoa, Joe, can I get your number? Oh, I'm a 3. He's like, oh, you're good. And like, to be able to simplify freaking conversation by saying that one thing, I mean, geez, it's already complicated enough for me. I'm just speaking from my experience as a peer, and hoping that touches something for you. So the next 4 words to move forward is, where are you going? So when you're hungry, you should go eat something wherever, good place to eat. There's a chicken place I want to go to, or no, fish in Trinidad. Yeah, that's where we're going tomorrow. If you got to pee, oh, I'm so glad you know this. Just right through the hall down the way. So let's go back to the mall, because I want to bring this home, and hopefully let this make some sense to you. I've been over here a long time now. I'll walk over here, because this is good public speaking. Our wants and our needs determine our destination. And how do we decide, just in general, how do you decide on which bathroom to use? Come, the closest, right? Yeah. But when you're in crisis, how do you decide which bathroom to use? Say it again. Closest, right? No change. You choose the closest. You're in a bowel crisis. But how come when we're in a mental health crisis, do we change the rules and complicate it? And we say, I'm in crisis. I need to lose weight. I need to exercise. I need to pray more. I need better health. I need to be less selfish. And you want to go to all the bathrooms. What ends up happening when you're in crisis and mental health is you wet yourself. You ever go to a bathroom? And I'm so sorry. I can call you Kim because you said I could, but you ever go to the bathroom and apologize before you go in? Hey, just want to let you know, or find the manager, something's about to happen in there. I am so sorry. How many of you all go to a friend and say to them, I don't want to be a burden? Or somebody will tell you, just tell somebody, I don't want to be a burden. When that's what the freaking friendship is for. That's the job description. That's a huge part of what it is. Knock up, Joe, I'm hurting. I get it. I'm glad you came to me. That was a flushing sound. I'm not any good at it, apparently. And some of you, sometimes the destination is, I just want to be happy. Henry David Thoreau, happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder. I would love for happiness to be a destination for us. But it's an experience that we have. It's a sensation we have on our road to other places. The thing is that fear, shame, stigma, they get us trapped with a full bladder. We'd end up not going anywhere. Like you're talking about, fear keeping us stagnant and not moving. I have rules for myself. Like one rule is I never drive alone in a car with another woman. It's just a rule I can put out there. And another rule I have is if I'm scared of something and it's not unsafe, head down straight forward. I just move into it. And because a lot of times looking at it is too intimidating. My challenge is pick any goal. Pick one goal. Go at it. Pick the smallest goal. Make it as simple as possible. And begin to do with the moving the mountain, right? Pebble. Oh, I want to be like a bulldozer. You're not a bulldozer. You're not there yet. You're not this, you just got to get a little, you got to work up to, love that response. It's great. They're laughing. I don't know if they're laughing at me or what. But so often we say, I wish I was like so-and-so. And then we find ourselves not doing anything because we're not there yet. When you are where you are. And if you acknowledge that and you're honest about it, then you start taking little tiny steps. The tiniest. Great book, Atomic Habits. It's better than mine. Talks about tiny micro steps. If you have a ladder where the rungs are close together, it's so much easier to climb than the rungs being 6 feet apart. Let's take tiny steps. Pick anything. Find where you are. Where are you going? How to get there? What helps you interactive? What helps you with your emotional wellness? What are some things that you do that have been really helpful to you? What's that? Right, not so much for my son though. But where do you hike? Yeah, I took my family to the Sequoia Park Zoo, and then we went out behind it too. I might have fell and got my foot in the creek, but I found a really cool waterfall back there. That's really cool. What else do you do for emotional wellness? Yeah, suit guy, music. Okay. I know it's not suit; it's a sports coat. But what kind of music? Reggae, sweet. I was just telling my wife I can play the reggae drums this morning, and she's like, no. But I do the air drums really, really well. What is something else that works for you? Can I ask you? Gardening. Favorite flower, favorite plant? It's a hard one, yeah. She said gardening. Poppies? I was gardening one time, and I'm not a gardener. I'm in Michigan, and I was like, I should get out and get the dirt in my hand. And was doing it because I knew I needed something different. And I went out there and I got stung by a bee. Like, are you serious? God's up there laughing. For my friend Sam, I mentioned earlier, she had this quote that was really helpful to her: sail away from the safe harbor. For her, the safe harbor was alcohol, was meth. It was something that she was used to that made her feel comfortable. One of the things I do is journal. Whenever I do a presentation, I try to look back in history of the day. This is May 4th, 2007, where I talk about, a lot of times my journals are just prayers. Lord, I'm so self-consumed. Why? At the bottom, I say, Jesus, when discouraging thoughts come in, and sometimes they do, like a flood, I'm giving them to you. Like, I don't remember what I was going through in this day, but be able to look back 18 years and say, I don't remember that. And it's encouraging me to journal right now, thinking that maybe what I'm going through right now, in a couple months, I won't remember what that is. It gets the junk that's stuck in here. And everybody have an idea that's in here, but then you say it out loud, like, oh, that's not good. I say, like when my wife said, oh, I want to marry him. And she's like, yeah, right. It was the other guy, actually. Having, having a good journal. This is one that was gifted me from my aunt, or my mother-in-law, and it's handmade paper. I showed Caleb it the other day. Don't read that. Having something you'd be proud of to hold and experience and feel, it makes journaling a lot easier. Having a pen that you enjoy writing with. I actually spend time writing about this in my book, G2.07. Can I get an amen from the church? This one right here is one journal I made available. If you're not a normal journaler, on the left-hand side, journal a sentence a day. Just write something, anything. Start small. And there's a little prompt up here. Prompting journals are great to get you thinking. Another way I journal is, these are kind of like the 4 pillars of my life. If you imagine a brick with the 4 sides, I know it has 6 sides, but let's just say 4 sides, the outsides. And if I worked on one thing in each one of these categories for me every day, imagine those bricks stacking up and building the person that I want to be. I think about who I want to be in the future in relationship to each one of these things. And I just do the tiniest thing I can do every day. And it's just one more brick. I've been doing this. What do you guess, babe? How long do you think I've been doing this? 10, 15 years? I don't do it every day. I don't journal every day. There's no rules for it. I have a chapter in my book, spoiler alert, rules for journaling, 3 blank pages. Amazon hated having 3 blank pages in my book, but it's really cool. There are no rules. I just did this what was that? What do they know? Exactly. And who are they anyways? Them. We need to bleep her out. Was that? That's good. My friend Nathan, another thing I do for very intentional. And my first hospitalization, which is the story I shared with you, this is back 2001 with the guy with the finger. I got the bill. A lot of things have way improved. And mental hospitals are so much more safer, calming. They really get it. There's a lot of great things happening. So I didn't mean to scare you from that. But since then, I've been back to the hospital a few times. And when I went back, I was very scared. But I had we were talking about in this lived panel experience, having that support system, the commonality with having the people around you. I have a thing called intentional best friends. So I'll just at you real quick. Every Thanksgiving, I think about the most important people in my life. And I pick a small group of them. It used to be 10, but that became too many. Now I have 4. And I write them a letter on Thanksgiving Day. I seal it in wax. And I just ask them, will you do this next year with me? If ever during this next year I need anything, can I come to you at any time of the day? Can you be my go-to? And, very important part, if you need anything, will you come to me? All too often we have relationships that are not balanced. You give too much or you take too much. A root word of relationship is relate. If you don't relate, if there's not that balance, the ship of the relationship don't float. I don't need a therapist that's taking all my stuff, and I'm not a therapist and I can't take all your stuff. We need balance. And they either accept or I've only had it denied one time. And it was like in a letter to me, very thoughtful. And I've been doing this for 15 years. And a lot of times the names repeat. The next Thanksgiving, it's for the four guys I have right now have been the same four guys for 4 years. This last year, I wanted to do something a little bit extra special. Gave them a key to my house, and I put it in a shadow box. And I say, I trust the lives of my family with you. I want to finish the story about my son David. You guys remember camping, cussing me out? David's sitting down, and I asked him 2 days ago. He is not 21 yet. What happened? What do you remember from that? He's like, Dad, I was scared. And the whole time I thought it was me. I was doing something wrong. And he was scared. And his fear response was lashing out at me. What do you do when forward is no longer an option? You find a new one. My son David, things are still hard. But when we got to that point in that trip where he's like, I'm not going any effing further, I had three things come to my mind, and I feel shame. First one, punch him in the face because he's being so rude. My grandpa did that to my uncle. And I was just like, okay, how do I see that playing out? Second one was to go on. He sees it going. The second one was to go out on without him the rest of the trip and leave him there. But I would have been feared. I would have been scared for him. I would have worried. I already felt bad for him. But I pivoted and I found a new forward. Because when we turn around and we find a new forward, we're not going backwards. We're finding a different forward to move forward in that relationship because it matters to me. When I was a cop for a week, this is the day I got sworn in. I didn't know 7 days later, I would hear them say, we don't want you. And honestly, I wasn't cut out for it. I probably would have done more harm than good. My daughter, Olivia, who has our granddaughter now, is in the arms, my wife. The shame that I held on to forever of not wanting to, you tell somebody you were a cop. How long were you a cop? 36 hours. Can I share a myth? I'm sharing myths that happen in here. And this one will be complicated for you, so let me explain it. You can do anything you put your mind to. That's a very dangerous myth with people in my situation. Are you saying I didn't try hard enough? You say I didn't jump through I moved my family across the state. I went to an academy. I went to a college. Like I worked long hours. I did things I never thought I could do. And you say I didn't try hard enough? I think you can do anything. I think you can try anything you put your mind to. But to say that you're going to succeed at it, man, I don't know. But the cool thing is, and this is just my perspective, is that God doesn't waste anything. And 20 years later, I would get a call from an academy having me come and share my story. And it wasn't until I brought up the picture of me being sworn in that they actually started listening. And in August of this year, I'm speaking at the International CIT Conference. I spoke this last year to a room of 230 cops from all different agencies. I got a standing ovation. I'm like, what? Like, and the acceptance I felt and the brotherhood that I felt from people that say, you know what, you were a cop to me. Like it just, there's a change happening, and I'm proud to be a part of it. The cops are going from a warrior mentality to being a guardian mentality, of being some people that care. It's happening slowly, but it's happening, and there are people that care, and we're trying to make a difference. And I'm bringing that on August. How do you move forward when your friend you love struggles so much? The picture of the hospital was his second attempt. This was his third. Third time's the charm, I guess. You got to find a new Ford. I lost him. Like my wife, she loves me, but the hearing the things is just too hard. And she, talk to Nathan. She didn't like Nathan. Nathan didn't like her, but they always encouraged their relationships. And I lost that. How do I connect to the world? You are my Nathan. This is a space where I get to come and share with people that get it. Because you're here because you want to be. You're here because you either struggle or somebody else you know struggles. And it matters. I love the commandment to love your neighbor as yourself. And one of the things I never really grasped when I was a younger kid was that this sets a high bar for me. It says my capacity and my ability to love other people is really limited by how well and how much I love myself. Hurt people, help people. If I want to be more helpful to people, and I want to be able to give out more to people, then I need to be feeling into this more. I need to be caring for my family more. I need to be doing this more so I can be doing this more because I love this, because I miss Nathan. Myth up here. We won't or we can't overcome. Bullshit. Your future starts here, in this space. Every time you think about it, your future is here. Here's a tip. Simple tip. Just slow down. Slow down. Mindfulness, you've heard of it. Just be where you are. Go out to dinner tonight. Slow down. Think about that bite you're chewing and just eat it. Think about the people you're with in the room. Just be completely where you are. The world pushes and pushes and pushes us to be in a hurry to do what's next. And we forget to appreciate what's here. And for those of you who have loved ones, am I okay? I have to ask that because I'm like, am I okay? Because it's kind of quiet. Am I okay? Okay, good. All right. If I'm okay, you're okay. For your loved ones, how this can help them find where they are. What are their passions? Who are their friends? Where are they going? What do they want to do with their lives? It might look like their passions. What are they doing? My son, I mean, it's pretty obvious. He put a drum set down in our basement. He started a band. I made his logo for his band, just goofing off. He likes My Chemical Romance. He's going to the concert in Chicago. And I sent him a how-to drum for a song on YouTube. My birthday was April 13th. He didn't even say happy birthday to me. I got a grunt from him. I wasn't sad for me. That just let me know where he's at. When we slow down, we can pay attention and listen a little bit better. How do you support them? How to help them get there? How do you support them towards their healthy passion? Healthy passion. Don't try to turn them into your passion. Don't try to push them into the unhealthy passions. Like the drums. Like, I had this thought of, is there a cool glowing drum kit set? Like drumsticks, something? That's not this isn't actually drumming. When I was drumming this morning to Riga, it was actually kind of cooler. And number 4, find a new Ford. You're going to screw it up. You're going to make mistakes with this loved one. Try again. Try something different.
Hey everyone, this is Sam. I just wanted to say thanks for coming. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to Joe and the presentation and hear what he had to share. I lost my brother on January 23rd to suicide, and then I lost my dog February 23rd to cancer. I would say the hardest part for me with losing Alex is the fact that we both struggled with substances, and I have found recovery, and he did not get that opportunity. He started working when he was 15, and he provided for our family. Every time I was in therapy, he was at work. He could have been getting the help that he needed. Being in recovery through these last couple months has been very hard. If there's one thing that I've been leaning on to get me through this, it's the quote, "sail away from the safe harbor." The safe harbor sometimes can be something that's unhealthy for you. My safe harbor has been self-harm at times. It's been drugs, it's been alcohol. And I hold on to those crutches because I think that that's what's helping me. And it isn't until I take a step back or I sail away that I realize that's what's bringing me down. I don't know you. I don't know your background. But I do know that substance use and mental health issues can happen to anybody. At some point, it probably will affect you. Not maybe you directly, but somebody you know. So keep an open mind when you do see people struggling and try your best to help. If you are dealing with suicidal thoughts, when you're in that moment, you don't want to reach out. Try to reach out. There are people out there that are willing to help and listen and acknowledge you in the way that they should. And you are worthy of being loved and being helped, regardless of anything else. You are worthy, I promise.
I want to do something a little weird, which is basically the whole presentation. I want to give back to Sam. She's going to be celebrating 1 year of sobriety, and I was wondering if you're willing to help me. I'd like to put her picture up back in the background, and if we could all just be willing to turn around, and if we could have somebody take a picture and just make a heart. And and if you don't want to be in the picture, please go to the side of the room. I understand that, but if you're willing to do that with me, I would love to be able to send that to her, because she did this only for this presentation, and just a month after her situation. So can we? Thank you. Can we just and no hard feelings to anybody that would want to not be in the picture. I totally understand. So I want to pull up this picture right here. And can we just all stand up and turn around? And can we get somebody on the camera? Yeah. And then I'm going to hit. Can you? Yeah, the person with that stick to would have a great. Okay. Can anybody now? Everybody say awkward. On three. 1, 2, 3. She's got an iPhone. Can tell. Give me a thumbs up when we're ready, or when we're done. Okay. We good? One more. Una más. This really is going to be cool for her. So she doesn't know I'm doing this, and I'm going to send it to her as soon as I leave here. Yeah. Excellent day. Look at you. If you could grab my email from the back and send that, or Laura, have her text that to me, okay? Thank you. And I'm going to text it to her. Okay. Man, I went a little bit long. I'm sorry. So funny story. The video of me and the youth school took 9 hours to do that 4-minute. So you think, oh, Joe's amazing. He could talk. No, it took me 9 hours, and I was crying most of the time. So this doesn't come easy. I show you the cut versions, but man, my life is hard. Q&A. My wife and my, yes, honey. The end of the story with David. Oh, so we turned around. Yeah, I wanted to punch him. It didn't end with that. Yeah, we turned around on the path. We went back to camp, and I found my new Ford, and we had a great camping trip. And had I punched him, like we just wouldn't have a relationship. And had I left him behind, the guilt I would feel. Like, and I'm just doing little things, and it's still hard. He kicked over a 10-gallon fish tank, and we had to call the police. CIT trained officers came, and they were amazing. They let me in the room, and we just talked with them together. And there's good stuff happening. More good stuff needs to happen, and it can only start. Anything else? All right, Q&A. My wife and my daughter are here. Can you guys come up here, Anna, Melissa? And yeah, right. Yeah, so I have 4 kids. This is my youngest daughter. She wrote the first chapter of my book. That's the only one worth reading. The forward, I say it's the first chapter. If there are any questions, they're open books. I'm open book. And if not, yeah. So are there any questions for me or my wife? Yeah. Suit guy. Sorry. The jeans guy. Curtis.
Thank you. This is kind of a two-parter. One is the logo is really interesting. Is there any significance behind that, or what's the context of your logo? And second, you talked a lot about language today, and I'm just curious if there's any terms talking about mental health, like your presentation included mental health illness. Are there any other terms of describing mental health needs in the mainstream that you find problematic, or dated?
Depends on who's saying it. So the logo is just people helping people, reaching out a hand to anybody else to grab it. Oh, man, dated. I want to say something, and this may be offensive to some of you. It's swearing. But I think we don't allow. So I started my support group in a church, and I had 2 rules. The first rule was nobody dominates the conversation. So I'm pretty good at that. Second rule was you can say fuck. And people will just not know how to express themselves. So I just want them to be able to say whatever they need to say, and then just puke it out, and then we can try to work at figuring out what that means. And I guess for somebody like me who struggles, I'm not a clinician, we will always 100% point people to the professionals. But for people in my shoes, it's all fair game. Say, this is how I'm struggling. From a professional side, I don't want to speak to that. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel fucked up. Sometimes I feel broken. That's the best answer I have. Yes, two-part question before too.
There are outdated words.
Yeah, like
there are, and we're learning them every day, and I think that's it's almost hard to keep up sometimes. Things that my daughter and I just watched The Breakfast Club last night. It was her first time seeing it, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, "Ooh, good movie." But some of that didn't age well, right? And some of the things that are talked about or said in the capacity of 1984 in 2025, we're like, what? So what I think I hear you saying is relating to the term mental illness, and I think that is it's a very large spectrum of, we all have mental health of one nature or another. My mental health may be healthy right now, but it's not always healthy. So I think we're learning. what's the right thing to say? How do we create a space that is
Yeah, and how can we do that if we
yeah.
don't talk to each other?
Yeah.
Like, how can we do that if I don't have a community of people behind me? How can we do that in Congress if there's a freaking big line there between white side and left side? Pisses me off. Sorry. Not sorry. All right. ¿Tienes preguntas?
You have to wait for Kim.
I'm not that, but not that.
I actually don't have a question. I just have a comment. I just wanted to say thank you. It's really moving to hear somebody that is just really authentic. I think that in public health, we have a lot of people telling us what we should and shouldn't be saying and doing to our community members. And a lot of times that comes from people who have never experienced what our community members are going through. So I just wanted to say thank you for being who you are. I'm extremely moved
You work in
by
community mental health?
what?
You work in community mental health?
Yeah, I'm a safe care.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll hug everyone if I'm going to get clapped. Yeah. ¿Tiene más? Oh. Yes, the guy in the green shirt in the back, stunningly handsome.
For the family, from that perspective, what is it like watching him speak and do these sorts of presentations?
Oh, Lordy. Worms?
I cry every time. The journey, he said we've been married 28 years. And the journey from 21-year-old Joe and Melissa to where he's at now, and seeing all the struggles along the way build into this space where people are like, thank you, right? Like I see it every day. But yeah, every time I see him on, speaking, it takes my brain back to, oh. And he said my fear response is anger. So it's good for me to sit and hear versus like living it. I've broken a fan or two from like, can you just, right? So,
yeah, my first hospitalization, actually, she gave me an ultimatum. Like,
I gave his
home
mom
from
one.
FedEx, and she's like, you either go to the hospital or they're coming to get you. And I was like, no, I'm okay. Yeah, she's a pistol. Beautiful pistol.
Something that I said in the forward was I didn't experience his mental illness. I didn't know it was there. Like, as a kid, he was just playful. He worked for FedEx. He'd bring his FedEx truck home and he'd give us a tour, and he would go to our school and he'd sing songs at school and like chase all the kids at recess. I had no idea. And so that was
Couldn't tell from
that was my experience with it, was that I didn't experience it. But until I got older, and genetics, and I'm daddy's girl, so I experienced everything he experienced, and so seeing him here going through the things he's gone through, I just am like, it's so hopeful, because I know what it's like. I'm sure a lot of you know what it's like, and you don't think that you're worth crap. Like, you don't think you can do anything, and you've got all these negative assumptions about yourself. So to see him up here, see him scared, like his shirt says, do it scared. Everything he does it scared. And so I've learned from him to run towards fear, and that if you don't think you can do it, you probably can do it. And that's, I mean, he said in his presentation, we can't do everything, but you have just as much potential to try as anybody else does. And I think of people like him who, I don't know if any of you have been on his website, but people used to call him Joe Booger because he was the kid that picked his nose at school. And he's also the guy up here. So not nobody's out, and I think the people that think they're out are the people that are really the most qualified to be in. So I feel hopeful, and I think if it weren't for him being up here, I might not be up here. So
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
And my kids are great. They all support me, but I do have one daughter that doesn't really believe mental illness. This is my fault. What I'm going through, my last hospitalization put a huge risk between her and I. And in her mind, I just need to try harder. I need to pray more. I need to be a better Christian. And just try. It's not perfect. That's one foot in front of the other. Good pair of shoes. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Doctrine. Your pastor calls it the doctrine, right foot, left foot. I'd love another question. I'd love something that was really hard. If you got something that's irking you, I would love to hear you say, I didn't like your presentation. You have a problem with it. Like I'm okay with that. Because we all have opinions, you know, and I love you. Are you gonna say you don't like my presentation? Because we just had dinner
I have
together.
a question here.
Okay, can we start with her and then come back to you? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just wondering, how did your marriage survive? Because that's a hard thing. It really is.
You first, her opinion, and then my opinion. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Plug your ears. No. Very carefully. Right. When there was my backstory a little bit is that my parents are divorced. They divorced when I was in middle school. So if you know about middle school student or children, like really, really traumatizing time of life to begin with, hormones, all the things, and then that trauma, right? So, and his parents were not divorced, but really never talked to each other. Like it was just very right. So I think we started very, very, very early in our marriage and just made a commitment that divorce was not a word we would use. It was either do or die. And so we've just done it. Like, I don't know. There's not a magic key. We've been in therapy together. We just continue to commit and continue to love. And, we've got 4 incredible kids and a grandbaby out of it. So, I mean,
yeah. And let me just tell you that if I would have been an abusive husband, first she would have kicked my ass and she would have left. But that wasn't the case. Like,
yes, I would have left.
It's pretty impressive. For me, I've always been an empath, and to my detriment sometimes. And I wake up, I don't journal every day, but every day I literally wake up and say, what can I do that's more selfless and loving towards my wife or my kids today? And God has been such a huge part of my story. And I don't know. I don't know if that's for real or not, but I lean on that. I lean on my friends, and I'm pretty honest with my wife. And the whole idea of on your grave, when you're dying, what do you want to remember, And I feel like the people that are in proximity closest to me, I want to invest, like literally, like they live with me. I want to invest more into them. And then I've got my intentional best friends, that circle of 4, super tight. I can guarantee you that at least 2 of my 4 texted me during my presentation to ask what my mental health scale number was. Guarantee it. They check with me every day. I was just gonna get my knee proposed to you again, but I'm just not that cheesy. I am that cheesy, but I'm a romantic, and we're opposites, so
opposites helps. And I have the things that I love and I do, and he has things that he loves and he does, and we kind of let ourselves have our own identity outside of Being
able to laugh at ourselves has been a huge part. That's something I had to learn. I took everything personal. She had to walk on eggshells for a very long time. And I've had to do some growing and maturing. I was a 21-year-old married man. And man, my brain didn't hit adulthood until I was like 35.
Didn't know sarcasm.
I still don't speak sarcasm.
Know how to interpret sarcasm.
Yeah.
So
Let's just be honest. It's my daughter that keeps us together. Yeah. Does that help at all? I mean, it's a lot of just take it slow. And I just do the next right thing in front of me, because 2 days ahead of me, I can't. That's just too much for me. When I started in FedEx and I'm driving my truck and to think I got to be doing this for another 10 years, I don't know. But I can just deliver this next package. I can just wake up in the morning, go around to her side of the bed and say, I love you, give her a kiss, and go off to work. I can just do right then. And Leah.
So one of the major issues of families is they have a loved one with no insight. There's anosognosia, and I'm not sick, I don't need help.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, when Joe was ill at the beginning, that was a real common thread. And I had a nightmare that I had woke up in a mental hospital and I was tied to a bed, and I shared the dream with him. And that's the first time that Joe had some insight. He picked up the Harry Potter book and said, Mom, see Harry Potter falling through these colors? That's what mania is like for me. And he started talking about what was going on. For you, did you get insight over a long period of time, quickly? What was your journey with insight?
Do you understand what she's asking?
Yeah.
Can you reword it for me? I'm sorry.
She's asking what the journey to understanding your mental wellness was. So and I think a little bit, so he told you that I gave him an ultimatum the first time. Right.
Did that help?
It got him on some pretty heavy medications that he flushed down the toilet a month later. Yeah. So no, not necessarily. It was still a long journey from there. I think the eye-opening moment was the second time he went to the hospital. Yeah. He had a really good therapist before that who started teaching him DBT therapy.
Social skills for dummies.
Social skills for dummies, yeah. So the DBT was very, very helpful in helping him understand how his brain was working
and how to communicate.
And how to communicate.
Checklist, literally. How do I ask for what I want?
The second time in the hospital, though, from 2001 to 2000, what was it, 10?
It was 12 when I went.
2012, the mental health community, that had changed so much. And so it was, yes, let's find you the right medications that help stabilize, but then let's teach you. And they just gave him tools after tools after tools. And I think that was more the turning point for him. Is that fair?
Definitely. And just to add a little bit more to that, so when I went to the hospital that second time, my wife, Nathan, and my pastor went with me because I didn't feel safe. I didn't trust it. Obviously, I'm not going to feel safe. There were a lot of things that happened at that first visit that I didn't mention. And they went in with me, and they walked around with me to make me, in the sensation room at the Grand Rapids Airport, where they had the finger thing I was doing there. They had a little spot where kids can see what it's like walking through the corridor to get to the airplane, preparing them for that experience with the seats actually at the end of it, so it wasn't so nerve-wracking. Nathan being so open about his struggle, when he came into my life around 2011, the day he died, I got a call from my friend on my FedEx route, and it was like scales fell from my eyes, and I'm just like, I can't do this shit anymore. I can't be this person I'm not. There's a lot of who I am that's still me. There's a lot of things I try to put on just to fit in where I fit in. I'm fucking tired of it. So Nathan was a huge part of that. Having relationships like you brought up, man, it's powerful.
The short answer is it was slow.
Slow, yeah, very, very slow.
My question more has to do with your age. When did you start noticing symptoms within yourself? How old were you when you were diagnosed? And how old were you when you had your first hospitalization?
Excellent question. Can I ask you a question before I answer that?
Yes.
Why?
Because I work with people who are being diagnosed with different mental health disorders. I work a lot with youth. And so being able to hear other people's stories is sometimes makes it easier to see what's going on in somebody else to be able to
Absolutely.
assist them in that.
And thank you for this question, and thank you for what you do. Second grade, my second grade teacher, Mrs. Payne, talked to my mom and dad, said, there's something different about Joe. Something's going on. He's really struggling. I grew up in a Pentecostal home, if anybody knows what that is. We just prayed for everything. And that big myth, mental illness is a spiritual battle. It's not. It's physical. You can bring, if you're a person of faith, you can bring that into it, and it certainly helps. But it's not demonic possession. It's not this shit that gets talked about all too often, especially what I grew up with. The second grade, they brought it up. My parents, there wasn't a whole lot of resources back in 1984, although the Tigers won that year. Yeah, and then I forgot the question. ADD. Diagnosed. Well, I was diagnosed as manic depression in 2001. Improper diagnosis. They drugged me the shit out of me, and it was just messed up. When I was sitting in front of the psychiatrist, he didn't even look at me, and I'm just like telling him, and no empathy, nothing. Just here's all your medication. Is this really what it's gonna be like? But then my DBT therapist worked with my primary care physician, which then worked with the hospital while I was in there, and they got me major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder. Had to go back a couple times to the hospital during that season to make sure all the meds were checked in right, and that was 2012. So 2012, I was 24 plus 12, 36 years old. So 25 to 36, we didn't know what the hell was going on, and I didn't want anything to do with mental health because of what I experienced in the hospital. Good answer?
Follow up to that though. So where in that did you go to the police academy and get hired? How did that play out?
Yeah. So police academy in August of 1997 before. So my wife was pregnant, and I lived in Detroit. She lived in Flint. Ever heard of the Flint water crisis? And we got married. I moved to Flint, and at the academy, graduated third in my class. Was really smart, but growing up how I did, very sheltered Christian home, I had no street smarts, nothing like that. And really, they were basically just all the things I was dealing with in my soul were being hidden by this culture of church that I couldn't really honestly reveal what was going on. Because who do you talk? Any insight into that? And then and then my extraordinarily long period as a police officer, 36 hours. That was before it was April of 1998. I became a police officer. August of 2001, I went to Kosovo right after the war between the Serbs and Albanians, and I worked with children there for a few weeks, and just really seeing all that destruction, dealing with the loss of the job, living in a city we moved from across the state. It all just kind of piled on, and I just lost it. Because I'm an empath. I care. I want to fix problems. I want to make a difference. Yeah.
What was the journey of starting Broken People? When did that happen? How did you know you wanted to do it?
Question. Thank you.
And yeah.
Okay, so this is the tattoo of my friend Nathan. He had this on his arm. But it was right here. It was really ugly. It was black and red. I was like, I want to get the. He got it because his friend got shot and murdered in Muskegon, and I got it, but I wanted to look cool. But I didn't want the same kind of tattoo as two dead guys. So I'm like, I'm gonna get it, and then get an open casket. So all his kids are running around. You could write on sticky notes, and we put it in the coffin with him. And the only thing I could think of to write on the sticky note was "I promise." And where this started with me was when he died. I knew right where I was, just like with 9/11 for a lot of you. You knew where you were when that happened. And immediately, I just started writing. My wife worked at Starbucks. There was a guy that came there from a ministry publishing company. And he's like, he started partnering with me, writing a book. And he's like, you can publish with a church. You can start these ministries. We need more ministries. We need better people to run the ministries we have, because there's just shit out there. And I don't want to be pigeonholed, because I know there's people that are going through what I'm going through that would never drive in the freaking parking lot of a church, and shouldn't drive in the parking lot of a church, because churches have some stuff going on, some of them. And it's in that moment, right when he died, and I got that call, was the clearest call from God I ever got. Was it's time to hang up the shit that I've been living and start to be more authentically real. I've been journaling for years. I got 50 journals at home, and I've just been writing. So now it's like, what have I been? How did I survive? And how did he? Like, what did I do? And I was just like, these are the skills I have. The mental health scale, how I do friendship, the way that I journal with God, Health, Family, Joe. And then this guy comes to me, he's like, well, I'll start a thing. I'll start a thing where I see, and I'll call it Broken People. And I know that can be offensive, but maybe there's other people out there that feel broken. And maybe they'll join. And then the church had small groups. I'm like, well, I'll start a small group. Maybe somebody will come, and it's just, for me too, it was like, what if nobody buys my book? My goal is to sell 10 books. My mom bought 9. I just need to sell 1 more. I didn't know if anybody would ever show up. The thing is, I show up. This guy right here leads that nonprofit. So impressive, man. You show up because it's who you are. It's your life. It's your existence. This is the only way I feel like I can make any difference. Yeah. The moment I got that call, I just took off. And I don't. It's just, yeah. It might be a weird thing to say, but I never feel like God pushes anybody to do anything. I kind of feel like the Holy Spirit was just like a gentle breeze, just kind of holding my hand, pushing me forward. And I felt like genuine goodness from that. Yeah. Good answer? Truthful answer. Look at you. No bad answers. Are you a therapist? My therapist is having a baby right now. Yeah, so I'm without a therapist actually, she's giving me her boss. So been doing therapy for 20 years. So it's great. Yeah. Thank you so much. Again, do you have a question? Okay. All right. I'm going to be here. I'm going to stand right up here. You want an autograph book? You want just to talk? Literally, I'll be here till 9 o'clock if you need me to be. Don't think you're holding me out. Don't apologize for saying I don't want to be a burden. Yeah.
Well, okay. I just want to thank everybody that came for coming today. This is a really important and critical topic for our community. And I appreciate everybody taking all of your time, all of your Sunday to come out and be here with us. I want to thank Laura, Jacob, Leah, all part of our dream team, made this happen. I want to thank our partners, NAMI, Behavioral Health Board, and Department of Health and Human Services, and all of our speakers. Let's keep the conversation going. And lastly, I hate it when that happens to me. Thank you, Joe. It's just such important work, you guys. And with that, we're adjourned.
Toodles.